Hello all and welcome back to our series Stradivarius and Beyond, Old Italian Violin Makers Untold Stories. Here is Luan Amorim from Amorim Fine Violins, and today we're going to review the history of one of the most desired violin makers, surpassed only by Strad and Del Gesù, Giovanni Battista Guadagnini. Guadagnini was a prominent figure in the 18th century violin craftsmanship, renowned for his exceptional skills and lasting impact on the violin making tradition. His violins are esteemed for their distinct tonal qualities and playability, making them highly sought after by musicians, collectors, and classical music enthusiasts alike. He is widely considered among the most significant makers after Antonio Stradivari, Giuseppe Guarneri del Gesù, and Carlo Bergonzi. Let's explore the history and the unique qualities behind Guadagnini's violin making style. Born in 1711 in Bilegno, Italy, in what is now the province of Piacenza in northern Italy, Guadagnini's life unfolded across four significant periods, marked by his residence in Piacenza, Milan, Parma, and Turin. Early origins and family heritage. It's possible that his pursuit of opportunities for his craft led him to seek out places where his violin making could prosper, and each city where he lived left a profound imprint on his style and approach. First period, Piacenza 1740-1749. His early career in Piacenza, beginning around 1740, remained mysterious regarding his training and influences. It is unclear from whom or where he learned his craft. Since he joined the woodworking guild, it is likely that he underwent an apprenticeship with a local woodworker. We also need to consider that Guadagnini was at the heart of a flux of influences and violin-making tradition, marked by his closeness to Cremona, which may have given him access to the work of the great masters. In his early period, Guadagnini crafted many instruments, among them some cellos of rather small size. He used attractive materials, ever improving the quality of the wood, and an appealing reddish-orange varnish that gave his instruments a distinctive personality. Life in Piacenza became very harsh during the mid-1740s because of the war between Austria and Spain, who were fighting to take control over the city. The conflict between the two Rhines led to the economy decay, and, considering Guadagnini's large family, he likely felt to the need to seek out new opportunities. This maybe influenced his decision to move to Milan in 1749, where he could continue his work. Milan's musical scene in the 1750s was characterized by a bustling scene compared to Piacenza. The city could count on a wealthier middle class that was interested in the arts and some leading figures in the musical field, such as the innovative composer Giovanni Battista Guadagnini. Second period, Milan 1749-1759. Giovanni Battista's move to Milan was supported by Carlo Ferrari, a great cellist from Piacenza. Ferrari had previously moved to Milan to play as a soloist and achieved great success. Furthermore, in the previous 50 years, Milan had seen the end of a well-established family traditions of violin old makers, such as the Grancino and the Testori. Please check our episode on the Grancino family to know more. Local luthiers didn't occupy the preeminent positions in these families in the field, and the gap of a higher quality standards in the local violin making business allowed Guadagnini to rapidly become one of the premier luthiers there. In Milan, he enhanced his distinctive violin making by devoting himself to precision, refinement, and aesthetic quality. He used selected woods and applied a bright red varnish, which somehow testifies his desire to address to a refined, tasteful, and wealthy clientele. During this period, some of his instruments were labeled, suggesting a connection to Cremona, known for his great violin makers Amati, Stradivari, and Guarneri. However, there is no evidence that Guadagnini ever resided in Cremona. His ties to the town remain unclear, although Guadagnini asserted having family roots there at times. Around 12 violins from 1758 bear labels indicating they were crafted in Cremona. These violins resemble his Milanese creations but feature a softer varnish with a more yellow-orange nuance rather than red. Third period, Parma 1759-1771. In 1759, Guadagnini decided to move away from Milan to search for better economic and life prospects. He headed to Parma, which was part of the Rhine of Spain and under control of Duke Filippo di Borbone, the son of the King of Spain. Filippo was fond of the fine arts and a lover of music, so he invested a lot of resources in music, which may have attracted Guadagnini and explain why he settled there. During his stay in Parma, Guadagnini became closely associated with the court, especially under the patronage of Prime Minister Guillaume du Tilot. In his later years in Parma, Guadagnini even received a regular salary directly from the court, and he added the monogram CSR, His Serene Royal Highness, to his labels. His life in Parma flourished until 1766, when Filippo di Borbone passed away and was succeeded by a son who lacked his father's enthusiasm for the arts. The Duke began shutting down all court establishments, and by 1771 it became clear that both Guadagnini and his clientele were facing unemployment. Consequently, Guadagnini negotiated his departure from the court and moved on to his next and final stop, Turin. During his 12-year stay in Parma, his violin-making style distinguished itself by the use of higher archings, a browner varnish, and local field maple. This choice is particularly noteworthy as, despite being part of a wealthy and affluent court, he opted for local raw materials, often related and assumed to be typical of a poor context for some violin makers of the period, instead of finer materials that were probably easily available to him. Fourth period, Turin and Cozio Inácio di Salabue, 1771-1777. Turin was part of the Rhine of Sardinia. The city was known for its vibrant court and the activities of the prestigious Radio Theatre and Cappella Reale. Shortly after Guadagnini's arrival, however, the reigning king of Sardinia, Carlo Emanuele II, passed away, plunging the city into an extended period of mourning and reducing patronage of musical performances. Despite this, Guadagnini's fortunes improved when he encountered Ignazio Alessandro Cozio, Count of Salabue, a young enthusiast with aspirations of revitalizing Cremonese violin craftsmanship, which was considered in decay after Stradivari died in 1737. Cozio believed that Guadagnini, who was now promoting himself as a Cremonese artisan, could help him to achieve this goal. Cozio's acquisition of Guadagnini's violins was followed by a deepening relationship wherein they shared insights into violin craftsmanship and the nuances of different styles. Through him, Cozio was able to develop contacts with other makers, and Guadagnini's involvement proved significant as he assisted Cozio in his most crucial transaction, the acquisition of all the extant contents of Antonio Stradivarius' workshop from his surviving son, Paolo, in 1775. Cozio supplied Guadagnini with most of his wood and other materials and later became his direct patron, which means the contract between them entitled the Cozio to commission Guadagnini's finest works. Notably, Cozio's influence extended beyond acquiring instruments. He urged Guadagnini to align his work more closely with the esteemed Antonio Stradivarius style. Guadagnini's shift to this direction is indeed evident in his later work in Turin. Cozio started to require him to make violins using the Stradivari forms and tools. As a result, Guadagnini adopted Stradivarius models more frequently, appended the text Alumnus Antoni Stradivari to his labels, and returned to the fine red varnish of his Milanese instruments. It is fair to say that the Count is likely responsible for Guadagnini's shift to a more Stradivari-like style during this time in Turin, both because the pressure he put on his violin-making style and his access to examples of Stradivari's work. Their relationship was sometimes strained due to Cozio's discerning attitude and some sort of control over Guadagnini's production, and their age gap. Indeed, Guadagnini was 60 and Cozio was in his 20s. Guadagnini's collaboration with Cozio ended in 1777, though they apparently continued to deal with each other. Despite the short period in which they were associated, Cozio was able to augment his already remarkable collection with over 50 instruments crafted by Guadagnini. Turin was also the city where Giovanni Battista Guadagnini passed away in 1786. His sons Gaetano, Giuseppe and Carlo continued their work, primarily focusing on building guitars, as the demand for violins had significantly declined. Guadagnini did not have any other apprentices who could foster his legacy as far as it is known. Violin making style. Throughout Giovanni Battista Guadagnini's career, his violin-making style evolved significantly across 4 distinct periods shaped by his geographical relocations. Each phase was marked by adaptations influenced by the availability of materials and the specific demands of local musicians. He constantly used local woods for his instruments, also working with good quality materials in Piacenza, Milan and Turin, when Cozio provided him with imported woods. Likewise, his varnish were locally sourced. Chemical analysis confirmed that while the ingredients change according to local resources, the preparation and application method remain consistent. His collaborations with Cozio di Salabue left an undeniable imprint on his violin-making style. Guadagnini was perhaps the most notable Italian maker who consciously imitated Stradivari without being his apprentice. He did so in his own rough and ready manner, using the techniques he would develop over a lifetime. Guadagnini's closeness to Stradivarius' style in the later years of his career led him to be generally considered one of the last great makers of the classical period. He's also possibly one of the last historical makers not strictly linked to Cremona to have used a varnish similar to that used by classical Cremonese makers. Conclusion: Giovanni Battista Guadagnini's career, through the vibrant landscapes of the 18th century Italy, reveals a craftsman deeply attached to his time's demand and the enduring legacy of violin making. Each chapter of his life, from the earliest works in Piacenza to the refined courts of Parma and Turin, contributed to the evolution of his distinctive style. His ability to adapt, innovate, and embrace the local materials available to him, even while drawing inspiration from great masters like Stradivari and having access to imported materials, showcases his remarkable abilities and intelligence. Guadagnini crafted instruments with distinctive features, such as their varnish, scroll design, and body shape, and they continue to be celebrated for their rich tonal qualities and exceptional playability. His instruments are a testament to his craftsmanship, which continues to inspire and captivate musicians and collectors alike. We hope this documentary was enhanced by your interest in violin making world and the legacies of the past great makers. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our channel and watch more and share with others. Thanks for watching.